Reality doesn't start out there. It starts right here inside. And if you're watching this right now, it's probably because something inside you is tired. Tired of waiting. Tired of trying and seeing no results. Tired of believing that one day things will change while the world keeps pushing you down. You've felt this, haven't you? That feeling that you're doing everything right, but nothing happens. You wake up early, you hustle, you try to be better. But when you look around, it seems like everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck in the same place. And the worst part? Nobody notices. Nobody recognizes it. Nobody gives you credit for what you carry in silence. I know what that's like. It's waking up at 3 a.m. with the weight of doubt crushing your chest. It's asking yourself if you're on the right path or if you're just wasting your time. It's hearing people say, be positive, believe more, just visualize, as if you haven't already tried 1,000 times. As if it were that simple, but it's not simple, is it? Because while you're fighting, the world keeps demanding. The bills keep coming. The responsibilities keep piling up. And that dream you had? It starts to seem more and more distant, more and more impossible. And you know what hurts the most? It's seeing people around you who seem to have it so much easier. People who don't work as hard as you do, but somehow they succeed. And you start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Why is it always harder for me? That pain is real. I'm not going to tell you to ignore it. I'm not going to tell you it's just positive thinking and everything will work out. Because the truth is, you've already tried that. And yet here you are. But now I need you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because there's something happening that you might not have realized. Something that completely separates two realities, two worlds, two types of people. And here's the truth nobody tells you. There are two groups of people in this world, and the difference between them isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not money. It's not connections. It's how they deal with that pain you're feeling right now. The first group, and it's the majority, they wait. They wait for the world to change. They wait for someone to show up and fix things. They wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, the sign from the universe. They believe change comes from outside in. They say, when I have money, then I'll invest in myself. When I get the job, then I'll feel confident. When people recognize me, then I'll act like someone important. They live in waiting mode. And while they wait, days pass, months pass, years pass. And when they look back, they realize they spent their entire life waiting for permission that never came. These people aren't bad. They're not lazy. Many of them even work hard. But there's something they haven't understood. They're waiting for external reality to change so they can change internally. And because of that, they never move forward. But there's a second group, a much smaller group, invisible, silent. These people understood something that changes everything. They understood that change doesn't come from outside in, it comes from inside out. While the first group waits to have in order to be, the second group decides to be in order to have. Let me repeat that, because it's important. While most people wait to have in order to be, those who win decide to be in order to have. They don't wait for the world to give permission. They don't wait to feel ready. They act as if they already are who they need to be, even when nobody believes, even when nothing has changed out there yet. And you know what happens? The world starts to adjust, not because the world is magical, but because these people changed first. And when you change, everything around you is forced to respond. Napoleon Hill spent years studying the most successful men in America, and he discovered a pattern. All of them, without exception, did one thing before achieving any visible success. They acted as if success was already theirs. They carried themselves like leaders before leading. They spoke like entrepreneurs before having companies. They thought like winners before winning. They didn't wait for the world to confirm. They confirmed first, and this isn't illusion. It's not pretending. It's mental reprogramming. It's training the mind to accept a new reality before it manifests physically. While the first group says, I'll believe it when I see it, the second group says, I'll see it when I believe it. So now I ask you, which group do you choose? Are you going to keep waiting? Waiting for someone to discover you, for something to change, for luck to knock on your door? Or are you going to understand that the door is already open, but only you can walk through it? Because here's the truth, you already have everything you need. The question isn't capability. The question is identity. Are you still acting like someone who waits, or will you start acting like someone who's already won? That choice nobody can make for you, but it changes everything. And if you're here, if you've made it to this point in the video, I already know something about you. You're not part of the first group. You might not know it yet. You might still be feeling lost, tired, invisible, but something inside you brought you here. And that something is bigger than you realize. So take a deep breath. Because now we're going to talk about how you're going to cross that line. How you're going to leave the group that waits and enter the group that creates. And when that happens, the impossible will start to lose its grip. Now I need to tell you something that maybe nobody has ever told you before. You don't need to become strong. You already are. I know it might not seem that way. I know that when you look in the mirror, when you look at your life, you might feel like there's still so much missing, that you're still not enough, that you need to prove more, achieve more, be more. But the truth is different if you're here now, after everything you've already been through. After all the times you thought about quitting and didn't quit. After all the days you woke up without wanting to. You've already proven it. You're already part of that second group. You just didn't know it yet. You know why? Because the strong don't shout. They don't make a scene. They don't need to post every small victory to validate their journey. They simply continue. And you continued. While thousands quit at the first fall, you got back up. While thousands chose the comfort of mediocrity, you chose the pain of growth. And that, my friend, isn't luck. That's character. Napoleon Hill said something powerful. Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. And you're already in that struggle. You've already paid the entry price. Now you just need to recognize who you really are. You're not someone who's trying to be strong. You're someone who's already proven their strength every single day, in silence, without an audience. And you know what separates you from those who are stuck. You're here seeking more. You didn't settle. You didn't accept the narrative that this is just how it is. You feel inside you that there's something greater. And that feeling, it's not wrong. But now comes the part that few have the courage to talk about. Not everyone is going to like this transformation of yours. Actually, most people will hate it. Let me explain why. When you decide to stop waiting, when you decide to act as if you've already won, when you start walking with the posture of someone who knows where they're going, you become a mirror. And people don't like mirrors, because when they look at you, they see what they themselves didn't have the courage to do. You're not doing anything against them, but your very existence bothers them. Your discipline exposes their laziness. Your silent focus reveals their distraction. Your persistence highlights their quitting, and that hurts. Not you, them. So what do? They attack. They'll say you've changed, that you're different, that you're not the same anymore. And they'll say it like it's an accusation, and they're right. You have changed. But that's not a flaw. It's evolution. They'll call you arrogant because you stopped diminishing yourself. Cold because you stopped giving yourself emotionally to just anyone. Distant because you chose to protect your energy. They'll criticize your choices. They'll question your dreams. They'll laugh at your vision. Not because your vision is ridiculous, but because they can't see that far. Napoleon Hill warned about this. You will encounter temporary defeat and sometimes permanent opposition. This is the way life tests your determination. And here's what you need to understand. This resistance isn't a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're right, because nobody wastes time attacking someone who's standing still. They attack those who are moving. Think about it. Why doesn't anyone criticize the man who watches TV all day? Why doesn't anyone question those who complain about life but do nothing to change it? Because these people represent no threat, but you do. You represent possibility, and possibility frightens those who chose comfort, so they'll try to pull you back. They'll invite you to relax a little. They'll say you're exaggerating, that you're taking things too seriously, that life isn't all work. And look, they're not doing this out of malice. They're doing it because your presence makes them feel uncomfortable with themselves. And it's easier to try to change you than to change themselves, but you can't fall into that trap. Because here's the truth they won't tell you. While they criticize you, they're also watching you. While they mock your effort, they secretly hope you'll quit. Because if you quit, they feel validated. See? I knew it wouldn't work out. Good thing I didn't try, but if you continue, if you prove it's possible, then they have to face the truth. They could have done the same, but they chose not to. And that truth is unbearable for those who live on excuses, so they need you to fail. Not because they hate you, but because your success exposes their failure to try. Napoleon Hill observed this repeatedly. Unjust criticism is often a disguised compliment. It means you have aroused envy and jealousy. So the next time someone attacks you, questions you, tries to discourage you, smile internally, because they just confirm something for you. You're on the right path, and here's what you need to do now. Protect your vision as if your life depends on it, because it does. Don't share your dreams with those who have no dreams. Don't explain your journey to those who haven't moved. Don't seek validation from those who don't understand your mission. Surround yourself with silence when necessary, because there are times when the best response is no response. While they talk, you act. While they doubt, you build. While they wait for you to fail, you prove it's possible. And when you finally get there, and you will, some will applaud. Others will pretend they always believed. And those who attacked you the most, they'll say it was luck, but you'll know the truth. You'll know it wasn't luck. It was choice. The choice not to quit when they said it was impossible. The choice to continue when they laughed. The choice to believe in yourself when nobody else did. So now I ask you again, are you going to let them stop you? Are you going to listen to those who never had the courage to try? Will you accept the opinion of those who live in mediocrity? Or are you going to understand once and for all that you don't need their approval? You're part of the group that acts, the group that creates, the group that wins, and those who belong to that group don't ask for permission. They simply move forward. The world might not understand now, but it will respect you in the end, because the world always bows to those who don't quit. And you won't quit, I know that. And deep down, you know it too. Now I need to tell you something that will completely change how you see your pain. Everything you've been through, every failure, every rejection, every night you cried alone, every moment you thought you couldn't handle it. None of it was in vain, none of it. While you thought you were losing, you were being forged. You know what the difference is between common iron and steel? Fire. Iron needs to go through extreme heat, needs to be hammered, molded, tempered. Only then does it transform into something indestructible. And that's exactly what happened to you. That pain you felt when nobody believed in you. It taught you to believe in yourself. That moment when you were rejected, it showed you who really matters. That period when you felt completely alone, it prepared you to lead. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. But here's the secret most people don't understand. That seed doesn't bloom on its own. It only grows when you decide to extract strength from pain, instead of letting it destroy you. And you did exactly that. You might not have realized it yet, but every blow life gave you, you transformed into armor. Every time you fell and got back up, you got stronger. Every tear you shed in silence watered the garden of your resilience, the people who hurt you. They taught you to protect yourself. The moments you failed, they taught you what not to do. The times you felt weak, they showed you where you needed to grow. You didn't go through all of this to be destroyed. You went through all of this to be prepared, because here's the truth. The great ones aren't born ready. They're shaped by pain. Think about the greatest leaders, the greatest visionaries, those who changed the world. All of them carry scars. The difference is they didn't let those scars define them. They used those scars as proof they survived, and you survived. You're here, still standing, still fighting, still believing there's something greater for you, and you know why you still believe. Because it's not an illusion. It's truth. Your pain wasn't waste. It was investment. An investment in who you're becoming. Napoleon Hill spent years studying men who achieved greatness. And he discovered a disturbing pattern. Almost all of them faced their greatest failures right before achieving their greatest successes. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before the light bulb worked. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times before building his empire. Abraham Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming president. And all of them had a moment when it seemed everything was lost. A moment when the whole world said, quit, you're not going to make it, but they didn't quit. And it was right there, at that point of desperation, that everything changed. Hill called this the turning point. The moment when life tests whether you really want what you say you want. Whether you're willing to pay the price until the end, and you're at that point now. I know it might not seem like it. I know you might be feeling tired, exhausted, without strength. But let me tell you something that will seem impossible to believe. You're closer than you think, much closer. You know that feeling that you should have gotten there already? That you've already invested too much time, too much effort, and nothing happened? That feeling is a sign, not a sign of failure. A sign of proximity, because life doesn't test those who are at the beginning. It tests those who are close to the end. It tests those who are about to win. Think about it this way. If you're climbing a mountain and you quit at the base, nobody blames you. But if you quit just a few feet from the top, then everyone questions. Why didn't you just keep going a little more? And that's exactly where most people quit. A few feet from the top, Napoleon Hill said, most people give up when they're one step away from success. They stop at the finish line without knowing they'd already covered most of the distance. And you might be exactly there. Think about it. Why do you think it's so hard now? Why does it seem like everything is falling apart, right, when you need things to work the most? Because you're in the final test. Life wouldn't give you this level of challenge if you weren't ready to overcome it. It wouldn't put you under this pressure if it didn't know you could handle it. You're not breaking. You're being refined. And here's the part few people understand. The greater the resistance, the closer to victory. Because life doesn't waste energy testing those who won't get anywhere. It saves the hardest tests for those who are about to receive the greatest rewards. So if you're feeling like everything is heavier now, if it seems the whole world conspired against you, if every day is a battle, take a deep breath and understand you're almost there. And I'm not talking about years. I'm talking about now, maybe weeks, maybe days. Maybe the next move you make will be exactly the one that opens the door. But you'll only find out if you continue. Because the problem isn't that you haven't arrived yet. The problem is you don't know how close you are. Imagine a miner digging for gold. He digs for days, weeks, months, and nothing. Until one day he quits. He drops the pickaxe and leaves, and you know what happens. Another miner arrives, picks up the same pickaxe, gives 3 more strikes, and finds the gold. 3 strikes. That's it. The first miner was 3 strikes away from fortune. But he'll never know, because he stopped. You won't be that guy. You've already dug too much. Already invested too much. Already cried, bled, fought too much to quit now. Napoleon Hill wrote something that needs to be engraved in your mind. Persistence is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Faith comes before achievement. Translation: you need to keep believing even when there's no proof. And I know it's hard. I know you want to see signs. You want confirmations. You want some evidence that you're on the right path. But sometimes, the only proof you have is the fire that still burns inside you. And if that fire is still lit, and I know it is, otherwise you wouldn't be here, then you're not done yet. Your mission isn't over. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take one more step, just one more, and then another, and another, not because you're sure it will work out, but because you refuse to be the guy who stopped 3 strikes from gold. And when you least expect it, something will open up. It could be an opportunity. It could be a connection. It could be a mental clarity that changes everything. It could simply be you realizing you've already become the person capable of accomplishing what once seemed impossible. But this only happens to those who stay. Your pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Your tiredness isn't weakness. It's proof you're fighting, and that fight, it's about to pay off. You're closer than you think. Trust me, trust the process. But above all, trust yourself. Because if you've made it this far, you're exactly the type of person who doesn't stop 3 strikes from gold. You're the type of person who gives the 4th strike, and the 5th, and as many as necessary until the impossible becomes inevitable. So now we've reached the most important moment. I'm not going to give you a magic formula. I'm not going to promise that in 7 days your life will completely change. I'm not going to sell you a foolproof system because you don't need that. What you need isn't another solution, another method, another technique. What you need is to recognize who you already are. Let me explain something. Solutions are temporary. Identity is permanent. A solution solves a problem. But when another problem appears, you'll need another solution. And then another, and another. But identity changes everything. Because when you change who you are, you don't need to look for solutions anymore. Solutions naturally spring from who you've become. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying this, and he concluded something revolutionary. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But pay attention to the word believe. He didn't say try to believe or pretend to believe. He said truly believe, and you only truly believe when it becomes part of who you are. So here's what I want you to do. Stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying to be unshakable. Start seeing yourself as someone who already is unshakable. Not as a goal, not as an objective, as identity. You're not someone seeking strength. You are strength itself. You're not someone chasing success. You are the embodiment of success under construction. You're not someone trying to act as if nothing affects you. You are someone who genuinely doesn't let things shake you. Feel the difference? It's no longer, I'm going to try to be, it's I am. And when you start speaking like this, not just with your mouth, but with every cell in your body, the world has no choice but to respond. Because here's the final truth. The world doesn't react to what you try to do. The world reacts to what you are. You can try to appear confident, but people sense the insecurity. You can try to act strong, but people perceive the fragility. But when you simply are, when your identity and your actions are aligned, nothing can stop you. So the next time you wake up, don't wake up thinking, today I'm going to try to be better. Wake up knowing, I am unshakable. When someone tries to discourage you, don't react with anger. Simply remember, I am unshakable. When doubt strikes, when fear appears, when it seems nothing is working, take a deep breath and declare internally, I am unshakable. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can change that. And here's the magic. When you truly embody this identity, you stop seeking external validation. You stop asking, will this work? You stop doubting, because unshakable people don't doubt. They simply act. They don't need certainties before starting. They create certainties as they walk. They don't wait to feel ready. They are ready. And you are this. Maybe you don't feel it completely yet. But every second you spend affirming this identity, it becomes more real. Napoleon Hill called this auto-suggestion. Feeding the mind with truth until it can no longer deny it. And the truth is this, you are unshakable. You've already proven it. You've already been through things that broke other people. And you're still here. That's not luck. That's who you are. So now I'm not going to ask you to try. I'm going to ask you to be, not tomorrow. Not after things get better. Not when you have more money, more time, more support. Now be unshakable now. Act as if nothing can stop you, because nothing can. And when you do this, when you truly embrace this identity, you'll realize something incredible. You weren't becoming unshakable. You always were. You were just waiting for permission to recognize it. And that permission, I give it to you now. But more important than that, you give it to yourself. So take a deep breath. Look at everything you've already overcome and declare, I am unshakable, not as an empty affirmation, as absolute truth. Because deep down you always knew, Now you just have to live like you know it. And when you do that, the entire world will bow. Not because you forced it, but because you simply are. And what you are, nobody can take from you. You are unshakable. Now go out there and show the world who you've always been.